Welcome back to my channel. I am Lulling Lisa if you're new here. If you're not, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be going over some questions. I believe there are 10 questions in this imagination test. So this is sort of almost becoming like a series that I do with you all, and I'm so excited because I love these tests. So these are sort of like personality imagination tests. So essentially, I get you to imagine a scenario. So you're going to relax. You're going to imagine what I'm telling you to imagine. So I'm going to sort of create a scenario in your mind, and then you will be basically going with the first thing that comes to mind. So if I tell you to imagine something and I ask you to think about certain details, like to think about the size of the object I ask you to imagine, or the distance, or so on and so forth, I want you guys to really go with the first thing that comes to mind here. If you would like, so you don't forget, you can even write down your answers. You can write them down in the comment section, and you can either share them or you can just delete them so you remember. So I'm going to be doing this imagination test with you. I'll be giving you the test, and then in the end I'll be revealing what your answers mean and what they say about you. So it's actually pretty exciting, and I did this in the last video, so I'll do it again, but I'll also reveal what my answers were so you can also get to know me a little bit better. So without talking too much, I will link the playlist to this series in the description box down below, because I've already done 2 videos. I did the cube test and I also did the island test. This third one's going to be like the block of ice or the key. Maybe it's the key imagination test. So I'm very excited. So if you'd like to know more information about this test, I will link the first video for you all, and the playlist will be linked in the description box down below so you can catch up and do them all, but you can do these in any order. So let's begin. Relax, you can even close your eyes if you'd like. So imagine a block of ice. Imagine a block of ice frozen inside of the ice block. Picture a key. So imagine a block of ice and imagine a key inside of this ice. How large is the key? Keep that in mind. How large was the block of ice? Keep that in mind. So you have a block of ice and you have a key. How large were they? How large was the ice and how large was the key inside the block of the ice? Now I'd like you to imagine that key again. How close to the center of the block is the key? So the key is frozen inside the block of ice. How close to the center is the key, or how far from the center is the key? So just relax and imagine this key in the block of ice. Next, you're going to imagine there is a dagger, and you're going to imagine that there is also a torch nearby. So a dagger or an ice pick or a torch or a blowtorch. Choose one of them. So pick either the dagger or the torch, and imagine yourself using it to free the key inside of the block of ice. So you're using one of these items to free the key inside the ice block. Did you choose the dagger or did you choose the torch? Now imagine yourself picking up the key inside. So you used either object, and now you have finally reached the key inside the ice block and you're picking it up. Get a good look at this key inside. Did you hold on to the dagger or torch when you grabbed the key? So did you release the item and grab the key, or were you still holding on to it when you grabbed the key at the time of release? Keep that in mind. Now think about the key that you have in your hand. Imagine this key. Is the key smooth and new, or is it rusty and weathered? Is it a brand new key or is it an older key? Keep this in mind. Next, you have the key in your hand. Now imagine there is a locked chest somewhere. So imagine there's a locked chest, and you can use the key for this chest, okay? So imagine this locked chest. Keep in mind how big the chest is, and keep keep in mind if it was near or far to where you were. So is the chest big or small? Is it near or far from where you are? Keep that in mind. Now imagine yourself entering the key and unlocking the chest. So you have the key and you're finally at the chest and you're unlocking it. Does the key fit easily inside the chest, or is it a challenge to open? Keep that in mind. Now imagine finally opening the chest, or simply opening the chest and seeing a beam of light glowing inside. So you open the chest and there's a beam of light. What color is the light inside the chest? What color is the light inside the chest? You have seen the light, now you can open your eyes. If your eyes were closed, but the test is over. Now I'm going to be revealing what everything meant. So let's start from the very beginning. Okay, so you had a block of ice. Frozen inside the block of ice, I asked you to picture a key. How large was the key? Let's find out what it means. So, the key represents your life perspective, personal opinions, and beliefs. The smaller the key, the more definitively you know what it is you feel and who you are as a person. The larger the key means you're still figuring some of those things out. So how big was the key? For myself, I personally imagined it to be like a standard size key. So not a really mini key, not a large key, just your standard size key, just the key that you'd open a door with. So I suppose that if it's larger, it means you're still figuring some of those things out. And if it's smaller, it means you sort of know who it is and what you feel you are as a person. So it represents your life perspective, personal opinions, and beliefs. So that's interesting. I wonder if I fell sort of in between. I mean, it depends how big or how tiny you imagined your key, but mine was like a regular size, maybe a little bit bigger than a regular size. Next, how large was the ice block, which is interesting. So the size of the ice represents how emotionally guarded you are. So, the larger or thicker the ice is, the more careful and protective you are when it comes to sharing yourself with others. So, a thin layer means probably you're very open, and how small it is means maybe you're less careful and protective when sharing yourself with others, and larger means you're more protective. Well, I sort of imagined like a big enough, nothing huge, but nothing tiny. So maybe again I fall somewhere in between. What about you all? I'm so curious for your answers. I love to know. Next, how close to the center of the block is the key? The closer to the center the key is, the more set in your ways you are. So if it's off-centered, your ways are perpetually changing. So if your key is perfectly centered, that means you're very set in your ways. If it's extremely off-centered, maybe you're not set enough in your ways, maybe you're too wishy-washy, too much change in your mind. Mine was pretty centered, but maybe it was a little bit coming forth. So it was sort of a little bit more forward than like smack dab in the middle. So maybe I'm a little bit set in my ways, but also open to new ideas, which is pretty accurate, I would say. Next, imagine there's a dagger and a torch nearby. Choose one of them and imagine yourself using it to free the key inside. Did you choose the dagger or the torch? So, if you chose the dagger, you like to aggressively go after the things you want in life. If you use the torch, you have a lot of patience and will dedicate however long it takes to achieve long-term goals. I chose the dagger. I think I was sort of reading the test a little bit in a hurry, and I just like imagined, boom, like banging that ice open with a dagger, just chipping away at it. So I chose the dagger. Did you choose the torch? I wonder. So the dagger is you aggressively go after the things you want in life. That can be true sometimes, but I feel like I would fall a little bit in the middle maybe. So if you chose the torch, again, you have a lot of patience and will dedicate however long it takes to achieve long-term goals. Maybe I'm a little more impatient. Okay, next. I said imagine yourself picking up the key, get a good look at the key. Did you hold on to the dagger or torch when you grabbed the key? So, if you held on to the dagger or torch, it means you appreciate the journey and enjoy reflecting on your path to accomplishments. If you stopped holding the dagger or torch to grab the key, you tend not to dwell on the past and focus all of your attention on the future. That's me. I immediately stopped holding on to the object as soon as I grabbed the key, so I do think that's true. I hope I appreciate the journey, but I do think that my mind is too much in the future, so I think that one is actually accurate. So if you held on to the dagger or torch, you appreciate the journey and enjoy reflecting on your path to accomplishments. If you stopped holding the dagger or torch to grab the key, you tend not to dwell on the past and focus all of your attention on the future. Interesting. Next, is the key smooth and new or rusty and weathered? The more worn out the key is, the more emotionally exhausted you currently are. If the key appears brand new, you're currently feeling fresh and energized. So I imagine my key actually to be brand new. Brand new. I wonder if that's true, if I'm feeling fresh and energized. I'm not sure. Next, imagine there's a locked chest somewhere. How big was the chest? The chest represents your future, goals, and dreams. The bigger the chest, the larger your future aspirations are. So, I don't know how big would it, like how big is big? I think mine was actually pretty big. It was almost like those old antique style chests because we used to have one at our house when I was younger, so it was a fairly decent sized chest, like almost like a very big luggage size. But I mean, if yours was gigantic, I don't know. If it's really small, clearly it represents your future goals and dreams. So the bigger the chest, the larger your future aspirations are. So mine, I would say, was quite large. It wasn't anything ridiculous, but it was pretty large. So that's interesting. Then it says, was the chest near or far? So is it near or far to, I guess, the block of ice and the key? The distance between you and the chest represents how far away you feel those future goals and dreams are. So if the chest was super close, I think you feel like your goals and dreams are close by, they're more attainable. And if it's further away, maybe it feels like that's how far your goals and dreams are. I would say mine was a few steps away. So if for example, I'm here, the chest was probably maybe to where that mirror was, or maybe a little closer. So not super close, but not in the next room or anything like that. Next, now imagine yourself entering the key and unlocking the chest. Did the key fit easily or was it challenging to open? If you had to use force or felt resistance entering the key, it means you often worry about things and stress yourself out over disastrous what-if scenarios. If the key fits smoothly, you tend not to worry too often and have a cross that bridge when I come to it mindset. Mine fits smoothly into it. I do think that I don't really overly stress myself out about things, so I do have that mindset, which can at times be to my detriment, but it definitely fits smoothly, so I don't worry, but maybe I should be worrying a little bit more. So again, if you felt resistant, it means you often worry about things and stress yourself out over disastrous what-if scenarios. If it fits smoothly, you tend not to worry too often and have a cross that bridge when I come to it mindset. Now lastly, imagine opening the chest and seeing a beam of light glowing inside of it. What color is the light? There are a few color examples. I will tell you mine first and I'll read that and then I'll continue on. So I imagine mine to be a whitish yellow light. So white and yellow. So there's two meanings for that. White. White means you are level-headed and highly spiritual. Interesting. Then it groups orange and yellow together. So orange and yellow is you're optimistic and thoughtful, always trying to make others happy. So maybe I would fall under the two categories. If you saw a red light, it means you are mentally strong and capable of leading others. If you saw a green or blue light, it groups them together. You're a wise, intuitive person, and you're far too hard on yourself at times. If you saw purple or pinkish light, sort of like my background, you are a friendly, loving person who cares deeply for strangers and loved ones sounds alike. If you saw a black light, it says you are a compassionate introvert who needs your alone time but cares for others. So if you saw a few colors, I think you can pick and choose between them all. But anyway, I will leave this test in the description box down below if you'd like to reread it, or maybe test one of your friends or family members, loved ones, so on. I'll leave the test down below. But I hope you enjoy doing this test with me. I so love doing this test with you. It's such a nice way for me to unwind, and hopefully it's a nice way for you to unwind as well. Just relax with me and use your imagination. This test, though, I feel as though it is accurate. It's been pretty accurate for me. Again, if it's not accurate for you, just keep in mind that it's just for fun, and it's made more so over to exercise your imagination than anything. So I do hope you enjoyed. If you would like to see more of these, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below, and if you feel comfortable enough, please do share your answers, because I love reading your answers and getting to know you a little bit better. Did you find this test accurate or completely inaccurate? Let me know. But until next time, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your life and just relax and unwind with you. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. If you do subscribe to my channel, that would make me so happy, and it's a way for us to keep in touch with each other. So please consider doing so if you're enjoying. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Good night if you're off to bed. Sweet dreams. If not, I hope I could lull you into a state of relaxation